Tonight on KGW News.
The city feels lawless and we feel abandoned by our elected officials.
City Council gets an earful from Portlanders. How they're trying to divide a budget surplus to address the city's biggest problems. Plus, the school board that voted to ban Black Lives Matter and Pride flags makes a shocking move.
Make the motion that we terminate the contract of Superintendent Morlock and with no cause.
And later, salmon versus sea lions. Why officials say they need more help killing sea lions to protect the endangered fish. Your news starts now. First tonight, you've heard about it, and it's here. That atmospheric river has arrived, bringing heavy rain to much of the area. You can see here high atop the Wells Fargo building, our sky cam there. Every once in a while, you see the windshield wiper there, wipe away the rain that we're seeing over the city right now. Let's bring in meteorologist Matt Zafino with the latest forecast and the areas that could expect some flooding tonight. Matt, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Laurel, it's going to build gradually. The rain has been picking up during the evening hours so far. There's Newport. It's rainy. It's a little bit breezy. Southwest winds at 15, and the rain will do nothing but increase overnight. We've already had some heavy rain down around Salem. We had a little burst of heavier rain in the Portland area too, but again, the heaviest rain right now is just to our south, and then just south of Newport, we're getting more lightning strikes. This is the second round of thunderstorms to roll into this part of the coast today, and there'll be more to follow tomorrow. So more on that in just a bit. But again, it is beginning to increase the rainfall, and it will do that overnight. You see hour by hour, the rain really ramps up 4 to 5 a.m. We pick up about 1/3 of an inch there, and then it continues to climb from there. So it's not going to be raining super hard every minute of every hour of the next couple of days, but overall, we're going to pick up a lot of rain over the next 48 hours. There is also a flash flood watch, or not a flash, but a flood watch up for all of Western Oregon, clear up to the Canadian border, beginning tomorrow afternoon, continuing into Saturday in some areas because of the potential for river flooding. Rivers are already getting close to the banks up in western Washington, and even urban and small streams may flood. In fact, that may be the bigger issue. Low-lying areas, under overpasses, places where the storm drains are clogged with the leaves that have been falling. Normally low spots. I know there's several around town that do that when we get a decent rainfall, and that's already beginning to happen tonight too. So the rain increases overnight, 1 to 3 inches for the valleys, but upwards of double-digit rainfall coast range and coast. And again, that potential for urban flooding and also landslides and debris flows possible too. So I'll show you the atmospheric river, let you know when it's going to finally move on. But for now, the river is going to run through us. Laurel?
Lots more details to hear about. Thank you, Matt. What do you think Portland should do with a budget surplus? We're lucky to have that. The City Council heard hours of testimony from citizens tonight on the urgent issues facing the city. There was no final vote. They'll discuss that again next week. Pat Doris has a closer look at some of the testimony.
The extra money comes from a change in the business tax in the city of Portland. It brought in $60 million more than expected. Mayor Ted Wheeler wants to use some of that money, $18 million, on additional spending for homeless programs. He also wants to spend another $7 million on hiring more police officers. 279 people signed up to share their thoughts on those ideas. Here's a sample of what they had to say.
We have to prioritize cleanup of the streets now. If you wait, it's like a wildfire that you cannot stop.
But the perception is crime goes unpunished here. The majority of citizens are not your priority. The city feels lawless and we feel abandoned by our elected officials.
All I'm trying to say is there's so many obstacles already as a blind person, and if people are hanging out in the main thoroughway, it's just super hard sometimes for me to navigate. I'm not trying to say anybody's fault, but everybody should come together and help them get more space.
The mayor also wants to spend money on body cameras for police officers. Portland's one of the few big cities in America that does not use them. I'm Pat Doris reporting.
Parents and administrators from the Northeast Portland School got together tonight to try to figure out how to make it safer for students. A walkout earlier this week at Roseway Heights Middle School escalated into what some parents described as a brawl. Alma McCarty joins us with more on tonight's meeting. Alma?
Well, this was a meeting for Roseway Heights families only. It's not open to the public like a Portland Public Schools Board of Education meeting would be. I'm told tonight's discussion was an important step in bringing the school community together.
Last week, a group of middle schoolers at Roseway Heights walked out, an act of protest, we're told, in response to incidents of sexual harassment among the students. In a letter obtained by KGW News to families at the school, the principal said the event escalated and fights broke out between some of the students. This leaving at least one student in need of medical attention. Parents sounded the alarm.
There's a lot of racism going on. There were fights inside of the school. There were fights outside of the school.
It made me nervous though. Yeah, it made me nervous and have my kid go to school here.
I'm not sending my kid here to be fearful for his life.
In a statement late last week, a Portland Public Schools regional superintendent reported the district is aware of sexual harassment allegations at the school made against other students through social media. The school system also aware that students of color are sharing discriminatory experiences and targeted racist language between peers.
I think it's important for children to feel safe at school. If you're feeling safe at school, you're able to learn. It's a basic need.
This week, additional plans to address the problems at Roseway Heights began, including a meeting with families Wednesday night. We spoke with parent Desiree Clark Mindersea after the discussion.
Tonight's community meeting was to address the stress that is now evident. We are doing what we can to really address the needs, social and emotional needs of everyone involved.
Right now, she's advocating for the safety of all, plus workable solutions to support students, like restorative justice, a different approach to resolving conflict in the classroom. In Northeast Portland, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Now let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. Today, Washington Governor Jay Inslee announced who will replace Republican Kim Wyman as Secretary of State. Democrat Steve Hobbs, a state senator for Snohomish County, will hold the position until the next general election in November of 2022. Wyman announced last month she was leaving to oversee federal elections for the Biden administration. Amtrak is about to restart service on the Point Defiance bypass in Washington. In December of 2017, a train plunged off the tracks and landed on I-5 during its inaugural run. 3 people died and dozens were hurt. Amtrak has now installed a safety system designed to prevent derailments like that one. The rail line goes between the cities of DuPont and Tacoma. And an old building with a lot of history on Portland's waterfront is now approved for sale. That's the Centennial Mill site in the Pearl District. It's home to, as you see there, an iconic water tower. The City Board of Prosper Portland voted to approve the sale to a California developer who has experience building on Portland's waterfront. We'll have to wait a few months to know if the sale will go through, and even longer before we know if the developer will keep the water tower or tear it all down. There is more controversy in the Newburgh School District tonight after the board abruptly fired the superintendent without cause. This comes on the heels of a ban on political symbols in the classroom. Mike Benner has been following this story since the beginning and has the update.
I think we lose hope for a better future for our kids in schools.
Newburgh High School parent Heidi Pender expresses concern over the sudden firing of Newburgh School Superintendent Dr. Joe Morlock. Pender shared the news with her daughter early Wednesday morning.
She cried. That was her first reaction, was grief.
Okay, make the motion that we terminate the contract of Superintendent Morlock, and with a no cause.
School Board Chair Dave Brown was among the 4 board members who voted Tuesday night to terminate Superintendent Morlock. 3 others fought to keep him.
We will be losing a leader who has pulled us out of financial ruin, who has rebuilt community, who has rebuilt relationships. In the matter of 3 months, 4 people have completely destroyed that.
Director Brandy Penner is referring to directors Brown, DeHart, Powell, and Shannon. The foursome has spent the last several months working to ban Black Lives Matter and pride symbols on school grounds. Due to legal concerns, that policy was later amended to include images relating to a political, quasi-political, or controversial topic. All of it culminating in the termination of the superintendent.
Dr. Morlock, we know you and we trust you, and this pains us terribly. And know that your integrity has spurred us to be faithful servers to our children, and we wish you well. We're so sorry, and we just am very disappointed in this decision.
Thanks, Rebecca. Just remember that from the darkest dark comes the brightest light. So everything will work out eventually. Okay. Thanks again.
Parent Heidi Pender is not at all surprised that Dr. Morlock took the high road. She says his character has been crystal clear from his hiring. As for her own daughter's future, it's nowhere near as clear.
Our daughter asks us almost every day about other options for school for her. So I feel like this was the nail in the coffin.
This whole thing puts the district in a tough spot financially, too. The district will have to pay Dr. Morlock for at least the next 12 months, as well as pay an interim superintendent.